now. Hello, welcome to the Gavin Podcast. Gavin.
Yeah, I mean it's not technically my show because I'm not sure where this is being uploaded to, but it's certainly not on my terms that this discourse is being established. You know, the whole video game things we were talking about a second ago, the idea of playing while podcasting. This reminds me of something on our Discord. We tried to do like a regular podcast, but it didn't work for a multitude of reasons. One, Elijah was just utterly incapable of getting the recordings to function. So was Donovan. For some reason, like the files were just monstrous because he couldn't figure out how to lower the bit rate. And I was completely unwilling to because I was under the assumption that both Donovan and Elijah should know how to make a video work because they both have more interest in doing that than I do. And the idea was like, oh, we could sit down and talk about stuff, and then we could play games at the same time. But what ended up happening was we just have these hours of footage where it's just kind of silence, and maybe every now and then someone says something about the game. I think that's not necessarily an issue with doing that itself. It's just the fact that Donovan and Elijah and Liam like to get off topic, particularly Donovan, though.
Yeah, that can be very similar and frustrating. Like when you're watching even a video of that, you're just like watching some middle-aged men playing video games.
You know, and so trying to keeping people on topic is hard enough in most cases. So if you have everyone sat down, there's really no reason you should try to burn your chance.
Yeah, I remember, man. All those YouTubers, man. You like just watch them YouTubers like PewDiePie.
Yeah, and the people getting off task is kind of amusing if if you're running a channel where your goal is to amuse like people with the attention span of children. The problem is, if you're trying to have anything remotely serious, keeping everyone as distracted as possible creates kind of a clusterfucky and mostly unfun situation. Mainly because even if you are going after that demographic, you just changing topics rapidly isn't in and of itself that amusing. What is amusing is when people rapidly change topics and they have fun. But like Donovan's basically like a human thumb,
just like a thumb that is. Like a useful tool, but not really.
No, he's not even that useful. He insists on his usefulness, but I wouldn't say it's there. And his nickname became the Human Thumb because after having not seen him in like 2 years because of some incident that I may or may not go into later, we come and see him and he's a lot fatter, and we realize his proportions are akin to that of a thumb. Like his height width ratio.
Jesus Christ.
He's gone from being like a middle finger to a thumb in terms of height width ratio, and that's with the same height, so he got quite a bit wider. He looks pretty normal, honestly, but it was a shock compared to how he seemed a while ago.
Like his usual, like skinny, like a stick.
Like Joshua, basically. That's basically how he looked until then. Well, I think I might as well go into the story. So, this was some time ago. Oh my god, the microphone volume. I'm awful at this. But some time ago, I was outside and we were walking around and we had some BB guns and stuff, and we just kind of went around town.
Yeah.
And so, and Jake's dad was a little bit upset when we stopped by Donovan's friend Jake's house, and his dad was a little bit upsetty with this, and instead of telling us directly that it was a problem, he decided to call like all of the parents and basically pretend like we were shooting up a Safeway. Like that was the impression that I got from his voice. He never claimed that we shot up a Safeway.
Oh my gosh.
But Mom played me the voicemail, and he sounded really fucking worried, and then Donovan's mom had a full-fledged mental breakdown, and I think the issue wasn't even that she was that upset. I think she just didn't want to admit she was wrong, so she just kind of let it fade. And because the issue, I can understand why both of them were upset, but nobody was upset at first until Jake's dad decided to call everybody and start fear-mongering.
Oh my god. Who is this Jake kid?
He's Nick's brother.
Oh my gosh.
His dad is he's not normal. And the funny thing is, like, to this day, one time I'm sitting in the car with Jake, and his dad is not supposed to know that I'm in the car with him, so I'm silent, and I hear this conversation, and Jake's dad's like, I don't like you hanging out with that Gavin guy. That Gavin guy.
Oh my gosh.
I kind of want to visit his house one day while his dad's there and wear a t-shirt that says that.
Oh my, that Gavin guy. So his dad is like, oh man.
Also, what the fuck was that? I just heard a weird noise come from my phone. Kind of love my Twitter feed. It's like all the worst parts of everything.
Yeah, the worst parts of everything is usually great.
The worst parts of everything is great. I like how you're just trying to say something that kind of continues the progression.
Yeah, like that's like my job, continuing guy. Like you just have like just trying to freestyle. It's like Kanye West freestyles. Oh man.
These connections are so loose and barely justifiable that they are amusing. I can see that's kind of your job as a segue. I know that Ethan has basically become a full-blown wage cuck at this point, meaning that almost every day he's unavailable.
Well, no, he's actually available most of the time. He just decided to go to Germany.
Oh, okay, that would make sense. I can see that if you had that opportunity, that's what you would do.
Yeah, his parents are just like, I don't even know how he gets that opportunity. He's just like, oh, I'm going to Germany. And I'm like, well, okay.
You know, if you do have access to a computer mic, though, I do have a couple of friends who could be voice actors for Sonic High School. Even if you don't want to keep associating with that afterwards, they'd be able to help with the project.
Yeah, that would be nice.
The thing about the Sonic High School is a very amazing piece of literature. It's on fanfiction.net.
I think it's on the level of Shakespeare.
It is on the level. It is something that's going to be remembered as a classic. So this story goes through Sonic and his friends at high school, and it's 25 chapters. And there's only one video where anyone reads it. It's the Brandaniel video, and I think it's a good video. The problem is Brandaniel, while his voice is good and his acting is kind of decent, I think we should try like a screenplay type of thing. We want to have we want to have different voice actors for as many characters as we possibly can.
Yeah, and some like video quality. Like, would we actually like record? Because that would be cool.
I think we could get quality video, even if we just like put MS Paint images of the fucking Sonic characters on the screen. It still would be better than just because the Brandaniel video has just like text where it says what he's reading, which is honestly just painful.
We could also just use like those like iPhone videos. Not that bad. I'm gonna be honest. That's the one thing Apple has.
You know, their cameras are usually decent. Also, most modern smartphones have cameras that are better than what you would buy at a low budget range. So for some reason, I get my obligation forms back for the school year.
Yeah.
And I owe $267 that I didn't think was there. It's like, okay, I knew I would probably have to pay $60 for this textbook that I lost, which I'll worry about that senior year.
Yeah.
But this camera, I was never given a camera. I was never told that I had an obligation for this camera. Because I'm pretty sure that before the end of the year, you have to give someone an obligation form for the camera that they owe.
Yeah.
I was never given a form about that. I think there was just a flat-out mistake, and there's going to be quite a bit of screaming if this doesn't get resolved as soon as in one phone call.
So wait, they just are just like, oh,
they charged me for a camera, and I think it was because Miss put it as something that wasn't
teacher.
It wasn't in her inventory. And I think this is why, although this is purely speculative. And because of that, they were like, oh, probably one of the students had it. And I think she had assigned numbers to them, like, for each of the students. But so in theory, all of these were lended out. But in reality, none of us ever used the cameras.
Yeah.
So one of them got moved during, like, the times where they were setting that room up for AP exams or something. That might have been what happened. And as a result, I'm kind of stuck with that. But I think if that is the case, then the situation should be able to be resolved with a phone call or two.
Yeah, well, that's always a good thing. Now, so what did you think of E3?
E3, I avoided watching just because after 2015 and 2016, my expectations for E3 were so minimal. I saw some funny compilations a while ago, but here's going to be my guess, probably. Given that Microsoft and Sony for the past several years have done pretty much nothing of that much value, I'm going to assume that Nintendo probably did fairly well for themselves.
Yeah, the Switch is really like the game changer.
I think that the Switch is now a lot of people like to criticize. There are a lot of criticisms of it, and the biggest problem with the Wii U, I don't even think was necessarily how underpowered it was. It was just that it kind of came out between generations. It came out a year before the PS4 and Xbox One. But in this situation, with the Switch coming out right now when it is, and I would say it's still a little underpowered. And there a lot of people who are critics of that idea say, well, by making it more powerful, they end up alienating potential consumers who are usually typically casual, and as a result, it's better for them not to invest as much in hardware. I think they can get more third-party support, and it would be nice to see something that isn't like... Because the problem is that it's really painful to get games onto a less powerful system if you develop for two, because the PS4 and Xbox One, like, regardless of what the fanboys on the fucking forums will tell you, they're almost identical in terms of how they function.
Yeah.
So, like... If you port one over to the other, then what ends up, you just lower the resolution in worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think so Nintendo, here's my opinion of them. They don't know how to market or run a business really. I'm sorry, they don't, but they know how to make good video games.
They know how to make games, and I think the problem is like, see, making good games was all they really needed at their earliest stage, because honestly at that point, hardware was an issue, but there wasn't really anyone in terms of hardware. No one was really competing with them, and until like the Wii, their hardware was actually like normally as high as it could be. Like the N64 was more powerful than PS1. It just used cartridges, which was a fucking kneecap to the system, and the GameCube. Again, it was comparable to PS2. It wasn't underpowered, but it used those smaller discs, and developers just didn't like that. And then came the Wii, which I think the Wii was kind of a miracle in that it came right before all the normies getting their mobile games. It came before there was like a huge explosion in the mobile market.
Yeah.
And so you had something that could really grab that casual audience, and it sold incredibly well. But like, let's be honest, the majority of people who bought the original Wii were soccer moms who bought it, played Wii Sports, and then never touched the goddamn thing again.
Yeah. I still have a Wii here, actually. If I
mean,
pull
most
off,
people do.
yeah, like it's broken. You can like run Netflix on it, and that's it.
You know, the Wii ended up turning into a Netflix machine, especially after some child put coins in the Wii, tried to use it as a coin slot, and that broke the disk drive.
Wow, mine just stopped working.
I mean, that's not surprising, but anyway, because of the release of the Scorpio and the PS4 Pro, I think that it's going to be at least another year before the PS5 is a possibility. So the question is honestly like, did Nintendo depending on when the PS5 and next Xbox come out, that kind of determines whether or not they really fucked up here, because that was their biggest mistake with the Wii U, is they released between generations.
Yeah, the Wii U, like I have Wii U, and I'm going to be honest, I play it all the time.
The Wii U, I feel like had it come just like 2 years earlier would have been amazing.
Yeah, and selling the thing with the like, they didn't exactly sell the idea correctly. People thought it was an attachment.
No, there were people who thought the Wii U was an add-on for the original Wii, and that shows like their marketing department is doing awfully. And I know that they're during the Wii U, most of what kept Nintendo afloat was their mobile sales, like the handheld consoles, and you have to admit that at a certain point that is going to dry up.
Yeah, the 3DS, which I own one. It's an amazing system, but it's gonna dry up. And I'm believing the Switch will replace the 3DS. That's the plan.
I think that's the idea, because the whole portable games thing is becoming less and less common with mobile devices. And I know that there was Super Mario Run, which got a lot of shit, but here's the thing, right? And I think this just goes to speak about their marketing departments. See, what most mobile gamers would do is, if the game is free to download, they will probably spend a lot of money on microtransactions and whatever throughout the course of the game, or even if it's like $1, they'll still do the same thing. Most mobile gamers would rather pay $100 over the course of a few months than $10 once and never pay anything again.
Yeah, and I find that absurd. Super Mario Run wasn't even $10, wasn't it? Like $6.
I think when it first released, it was 10.
Oh, that's not even that bad for Mario.
That's not even bad, but for most phone games, it's really high, and just the mobile market is full of like basically people who don't understand basic economics.
Yeah, like Nintendo was trying to save them money. Like they
Well, and honestly, I'm really sad that it didn't do better, because I hate that trend of let's make the game free, and then the only way we can make money is to make stupid microtransaction practices that are unusable.
with like paywalls and stuff. I would have. I didn't buy Super Mario Run, but I might actually at one point buy it, because I mean, you get Mario on the go on your phone. What else do you want?
Yeah. I just wish this trend would reverse. I wish more people because most people who use phones, most mobile gamers aren't putting a lot of thought into the economic situation of their
Agreed.
games, because it's a small amount of money either way, so most people just prefer not to have upfront costs on mobile. But I think, honestly, that's the only way we're really going to improve the mobile landscape, is if people start saying, okay, I'm willing to pay $5 or $10 for a game if I don't have to spend, $1 every other day to actually use it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we have to create. The gaming market's one of the most unique markets, in my opinion, of the 21st century. It's one of the...
I think the situation with the mobile market is it has a lot of potential for a future, but I feel like just the types of people who primarily game on phones are going to kind of ruin it.
Yeah, phone users, please stop.
No, phone users are similar things happen in most people on phones. They kind of destroy things. Like, take for example 4chan. I mean, if you look at over time, the amount of people who are posting from their phones as opposed to their computers. You also see a drop in the quality of those posts
Yeah.
because if you're a phone poster, you're using your mobile data, or you might be using mobile data, which means it's very difficult for you to get banned because they base it on IP.
Yeah.
And so dumb phone posters, even if they do get banned, there's not really any repercussion. They'll just go home and go on their computer and do the same thing. And it also allows a higher volume of posts, and there's just generally less quality. It's also phone posters tend to be younger than computer posters.
Yeah.
And I understand there is a need for people to be able to post while they're not at home on their personal device, but this influx of mobile users is truly toxic. I think that's where like the heart of the Reddit is.
The Reddit on phone.
I think the Redditors are the types of people that's typically that's what I would consider 4chan at this point. It's basically just a shittier version of Reddit given the state of the community.
Yeah.
I mean there are a couple of elements of it that are still holding out. What I'm watching right now is R9K, a board that was the idea is that it's basically like Man Children the board.
Yeah.
I'm watching it slowly get deteriorated due to normies.
Oh man, I've been going on Reddit mainly. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Reddit normie guy. I use Reddit on I specifically go on the dank meme subreddit.
I actually do like that subreddit. I think there are some subreddits that are worth it. Dank memes is quite good. I hate them. You know, there are people who say that dank memes isn't good and that you should look at wholesome memes. Like the wholesome memes Twitter account, let's be honest, that's unfunny. I know that dank memes are incredibly awful and offensive, but that's kind of the point.
That's the point of dank memes is trying to like break the comedy line and just say, I think the idea is that we don't care if anything's offensive, and it's kind of the anti-PC movement per se.
I think it's like that, but they try not to get as wrapped up in politics, and they just try to take that principle of let's keep our content unregulated. Let's see what we can do to try to antagonize people, but instead of doing it on a political basis, we'll just do it through our memes.
Yeah, and at the same time, then like people go on that Reddit and they think people take those ideas literally when they see a joke about like, I don't know how to say this without getting a YouTube strike because it's definitely gonna just show up out of nowhere. All right, let's say like there's a Stalin joke, right? Even though
you won't get a strike on YouTube for mentioning Stalin.
Yeah,
and Hitler.
I won't get a strike for Stalin. I was thinking of mentioning someone else.
if you were thinking about mentioning Hitler, that's fine. Like
Hitler. All right, yeah. So let's say they put on like something that says like Hitler is number one, which that's like almost every dank meme.
You know that is, but the idea is that it's
a difficult, like, it's dark comedy. That's what it is. It's dark and like it makes jokes and stuff. And if somebody who doesn't get the point of the joke just gets on there, they're like,
without context, it looks completely horrible.
Yeah, and it's hard to explain dank memes. It's kind of like if you don't get it, just don't get involved in it.
Stalin are wholesome memes. Figured it belongs here as well. Keep up the good fight, Stefan. Okay, it's a meme about Stefan, Carl Stephenson, the lazy town guy.
Oh yeah, that's actually a sad thing.
His situation is tragic. Are you familiar with Garfield Kart?
What?
Garfield Kart.
Was this like a spin-off, like trying to milk the Mario Kart franchise off of spin-offs?
It came out, I don't know when it came out actually, but it's based off of Mario Kart, except it has Garfield characters. It's $1 on Steam with the sale. So I bought it, and I've played a few hours of it actually. It's pretty good.
Oh really? It's a decent karting
It's
game.
well made. I'd say it's arguably better than Mario Kart.
All right, better than Mario. Oh, now hold your horses there. Like
I wouldn't say it's better than the newest Mario Karts, but it's better than like the
old 8-bit ones, 16-bit.
It's better than like I had a DS version a while ago.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
I think it holds up pretty well with that. It's you know what's interesting though? The base game doesn't have any doesn't have multiplayer. So my friend pirated the game because I said I was going to buy it for him, and then because I didn't buy it for him within 5 minutes, he decided to go pirate it. The pirated version has a multiplayer, but the actual game doesn't.
What?
Yeah, the developers of Garfield Kart, they thought it was funny, but they don't. I don't think they take their game very seriously.
Man, oh yeah, I should probably turn down the gain a bit because it's
the gain. It kind of sounds like a boat rocking on the water. That's my analogy for it.
Yeah. All right.
So, an idea of a top 10 worst teachers list. I still like that idea. I just think we need to. The problem is, I need to expand my circles a bit to get more like submissions and stories.
Yeah, I think we need to release that after we graduate.
I think it should be post graduation, but I think we need to have a system set up to where it's like, how do you get people? Because we want people to be able. Like the idea would be, it's like, okay, if you know that there's a teacher who you dislike, right?
Yeah.
Please submit to us like we'd probably have to set up like an anonymous form. We'd set up an anonymous Google form.
Put down like a category that you think it's in and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to actually check because like some people might just like say random teacher is bad when in reality you're like
no, but the idea is that you give stories, and it's pretty easy to pick up on stories that are absolutely unbelievable. Most people don't understand what aspects of a story make it believable.
Yeah, I've seen people. Apparently, people hate I can use this name because I'm trying to give him a compliment, but apparently people hate Mr. Some people.
The only reason that you could hate him is if you fucked up in his class.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to screw.
Yeah, no. Also, you know, on Rate My Teacher, there's some interesting things that I have to say about some teachers. But so what I think we'd do is we'd set up an anonymous Google form and try to get that link shared however we can, like possibly through Discord, because like the school can't really monitor Discord.
Yeah.
And the idea is like, okay, you talk to your friends, you can get stories, just submit a teacher you feel should be on the list, give some stories and some reasons why, and we'll use all of that together. And because the problem is if you only have 3 or 4 people making the list and they base it off their personal experiences, there's going to be some stuff that gets left out.
I think we should definitely also add a top 10 best teacher list because
I think there should. I probably do know 20 teachers. Like,
there's a lot of good
teachers.
teachers.
Are there at Wild Lake?
There are some pretty good ones. I heard the art teacher is really good.
The art teacher,
Mr.
I wouldn't know. I haven't taken art.
I've never taken art, but I've just heard around. Some of the best math teachers I'd have to say is Miss definitely up there.
Miss is up there as a teacher, but I feel like that's only because she's less mean than you know who.
Now hold up.
Okay.
No, she's not. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, I don't see Miss mean at all. No.
I'm just gonna give my honest take here. I don't think that she's bad, honestly. I just think that at times, and it might have just had to do with the fact that I had her very early in the morning, she seemed to be a little bit unreasonable at times. Like there is a fine line between, you know, keeping your classroom functional and being a bit ridiculous. And I think, especially with like, there's a very interesting guy. I think you're gonna bleep out these names anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Well, every day, every time he fucked up, Miss would try as hard as she could to make him feel like shit.
Ooh.
And it would be like, oh, you didn't do this. Why are you even in my class? What are you doing? Like, you need to fix your work ethic. Why are you even coming to school? Like, she'd say things like this, and then she'd turn to me and be like, oh, you didn't do your homework either. And I've always thought that she didn't really like me, and she didn't. But like seeing she seemed like there were certain students who she would just actively try to demoralize, and I thought that was a little bit fucked up. And I know that it's not as bad as other people, but even if you're near perfect, there's still always opportunity for improvement.
Yeah. I believe he's actually going to a pretty good college. I believe he's either... I know he got accepted to UMBC. I don't know what college he's going to attend, but...
I'm not exactly sure. I think it says in his Twitter.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I'm going to be honest. I love...
I see him. Yeah, he's UMBC 21, sober and alone. That's his Twitter bio.
That's actually awesome. I'm gonna be honest. He's like the type of guy you want to be friends with.
No, he's never pissed me off. I can't think of a single time that he's ever done anything ridiculous.
People actually come up to me and tell me that he's the perfect human being.
Yeah.
And he's a very nice guy. And if you saw there's a show, he played Charlie Brown.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think needs to get more innovative with its musicals, though.
Yes.
I think they should there was a while ago I thought they should have done one about the question about is though, like, do these people really have the talent and the passion to, like, if it were real to you know to as if they were really there. I think the talent at needs to be truly uncovered.
I should probably put through editing on this.
You know, I think he should. I feel like he's probably going to try to slip in a couple of things that he should cut out. Just try to make me look bad. I don't know. Maybe that's payback for encouraging Gerald to be an absolute dick to him in English.
No, he's professional. He's professional in his work.
I presume so.
I add him over and edit. He's a good guy. He's good.
I got up around 7. I thought it was like 3 p.m., so I took my medicine, and I couldn't fall back asleep, so now I don't feel super tired, but it feels like it's a school day, and that level of tired isn't something I've felt in a while.
Yeah, that's true. What do I have here? I have a text from a friend who's like, dude, when you done your podcast? Oh my gosh, later, boy.
Okay, most podcasts go on for like an hour. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like their
like-
finished product is usually at least an hour, and that's like not including all the stuff that gets cut out.
Yeah. So should I? Do you
Turn
want
on
to?
something. I don't really want to play anything, but if you do, then try to turn on something. It'll give me something to look at. And
Yeah.
something to kind of think about.
How about
So-
good old? I've been playing this classic. I don't. I hope you don't judge. Is Mario Galaxy 2 okay?
Oh, Mario Galaxy 2's fine.
Yeah, you can commentate while I put my mic down. Ugh.
Put the mic down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll just like pick it up every once in a while.
You'll pick it up when you really need to say something.
Yeah.
So, however, I have not fully given up on trying to fix the situation with county's policy. Yeah, no. The issue was like by the time though that I didn't really have any like post election, there really wasn't any time to mobilize. The idea being that if we can if we can get in touch with the right people. Obviously the email campaign that I did early on was something, right? I think what I'm going to do is I think we'll launch a similar campaign, right? In the near future. Or not in the near future, like once we get back to school, we'll start a similar campaign where even people who have written them before about it will write again and be like, hey, they basically restate their original email and be like, you've also failed to substantially address the public input that you've been given. And another thing that I want to try to do is I think senior year I'll probably be able to hopefully be able to meet a couple more people, and if we can even get a handful of people to show up at one of their meetings, then they'll try to make it. We just need to make it clear that we're not going to go away.
That's a good idea.
And I think that it begins by I don't even think it really begins in the summer, because in the summer I'm kind of deadlocked with who I have contact with, and a lot of the people who I really needed were seniors.
Yeah, agreed.
So, as such, I'd have to wait until the year next year, but we can get in contact with the juniors and the freshmen, and even the decent people in SGA would be willing to do this. Just start the email campaign. I think if we just got like a few more people, they probably would have made some kind of statement on it. I think the issue was though the people who were responding legitimately believed that the problem was that people didn't know that it was recently changed, which wasn't true at all. Like, everyone that I told to email them, I explained to them exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
They changed the policy, but those changes were basically a token gesture that didn't accomplish anything. And the goal of the email rating campaign wasn't to say change it, it was to say change it in a way that actually matters.
Yeah.
And because the convention system, it honestly doesn't really make any sense. If the convention is in effect just a big panel, the criteria for the interview is still preset, although I do appreciate that now like the criteria is more dynamic because HCAS gets to set the criteria.
Agreed.
Like if HCAS can set the criteria for the interviews, that means they can change, they can be better. But the problem is the delegates are still appointees. In fact, on the original panel, you had like the student member, and you also had I think you'd have the HCAS president or some like high up in HCAS who was elected. Whereas the delegates who run the convention they're not elected by anyone; they're just appointed by the school. And the idea is that they should be as representative demographically of the school as possible. Hey, here's some noise.
That's probably my sister.
Okay, that's what that was. I thought someone was coming down here, though. I was like, we don't really concern those people. That's not really necessary. The problem, because the delegates are still unelected, like, you can make them as demographically representative as you want. They can represent the schools in terms of demographics perfectly, but that doesn't mean they're actually representative, because when people cast a vote, they're voting for their perspectives, right? And those perspectives, like, just because two students are the same gender and race doesn't mean that their perspectives on like what attributes are most important in a student member are going to be even remotely similar. And so essentially, yeah, you're offering a diverse representation, but it's kind of meaningless because the only kind of diversity that really does matter is intellectual diversity. Like representation it matters a lot more that your opinions are represented than that your group is represented.
All right, let's see if I can get this file over here.
I'm watching this Mario game, and I'm not too familiar with it, but there are clouds. You can just like conjure up clouds with this weird special cloud hat.
It's a galaxy. It's the game that like Nintendo was basically high and made.
Except it's a really good game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It seems like, oh yeah, you do, exactly.
Oh sweet. This is a really weird concept right here.
You just feed it coins. It's kind of like the. Wow.
By the way, speaking of just weird things, so our school has a celebrity now.
Who?
Well, there's a certain. I'm not gonna name names here because I'd get in serious trouble. But there's a YouTuber with 100,000 Instagram followers.
Oh my! I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly who this is, and it's
We're not gonna mention that.
It's what happened. I guess if you attention whore hard enough, that's what happens. Gonna be honest, that's just kind of what like I remember a while ago. I had a gaming channel a while ago. I ended up just kind of what I did was because I stopped making videos on it. Elijah was like, "Yo, can I delete all the videos that are here?" And I'm like, "Sure." And that's how that situation ended up being. So we actually have a really here's part of why my Discord server is something that I like to shill for so much. We set up a system where all the administrators are actually elected, and important decisions are made by the consensus of those administrators and Lem, he's kind of a permanent executive, but we've debated making that position elected.
Yeah.
And that may or may not happen in the future, but right now it's probably not going to happen, at least for a couple times. So every 2 months, we have a system where everyone gets 2 votes, no self-votes, and you can't vote for the same person twice. And whichever 3 people have the highest number of votes become moderators. Moderators they're basically administrators.
No, but what do you think of this certain YouTuber's fame?
Well, their fame is honestly where their fame comes from is pretty much expected. It's nothing that really shocks me. It's like, yeah, some people just the way they go about presenting themselves, even if they're just kind of going through their mundane lives, is amusing to people. I guess it could fall under the category of natural talent, which is because with YouTube there are kind of 2 elements to your thing. There's like natural talents, things like your face, your voice, your general ability to narrate well, and construct good stories. And then there are things like that you can directly control, like the effort you put in your production values.
Yeah. What would you comment on the quality of video?
I think the video quality itself is like, honestly, even if you find the content to be boring, like elements of the quality, like the audio, the video, the editing is usually that's honestly pretty standard. It's just like it's a really generic channel, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm just surprised that like that's someone in our school.
Yeah, but our schools. I wonder if there's anything interesting. I'm gonna read the Wikipedia article for high school. So let me put this mic between my knees and put my mouth right up to it.
We have some former. Oh, it's Luigi.
Get the fuck out here, you fat bitch.
I'm gonna play as Luigi.
High school.
He said he's gonna help me save the universe.
No, I'm not really. Honestly, anyone who follows my YouTube and takes a look at the Twitter links that I provide could probably piece together exactly. Would be able to piece together that I go. Okay, here's the Wikipedia article. One of 12 public high schools in county.
We had
Colors.
We had famous celebrities. We had
Okay, notable alumni. Who he's an American football player.
No, wait, what?
Yes, went to high school.
No, but there's a
yeah, it's there.
No, but the brothers. They're jazz players.
Then it might be a different. I mean,
do we have 2? That'd be crazy.
It's a really common last name, and is like at least a moderately common first name.
Oh, look, it's Luigi. It's Ouija.
Yee.
I'm gonna play as Luigi.
We've got a theologian and cultural critic, an actress, an author, and award-winning journalist. Yeah. I'd like to see this list expand at some point. The independent publication of high school, source 16. I like how it feels like they put a lot of effort into this article.
Wow.
Like, okay, it describes in 1994 the original 910, which did not meet safety standards, was demolished. A new $20 million 1,200-seat building with a more traditional style was constructed.
So, what do you think of the print itself?
I think the print has room to be better. Has a lot of room to... My thoughts on the print are this, right? It's a publication that they run, and it usually is pretty generic. And I think it was this year in their like version of the year issue, they published they had a story in there that they printed last year.
Wait, really?
Yeah, one of their stories. I think it was like the why everyone should be a feminist. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was in the paper last year at their end of the year issue. So they took things from a year ago. I feel like, especially like, there's so little to do with it. Part of it is that there's little to do with school news, right? There's not that much that you can do, but there is quite a bit that's not the only reason for their shortcomings. I think part of it is a lot of the more interesting things like for example, the SGA reform, right? That they basically made it so that the presidency is no longer a school-wide elected position. I didn't see any articles about that. I didn't see them, discuss that or have even like an opinion piece about that. That's something that's like, okay, if anything major happens in the school concerning the politics of the school itself, that would be good. There was nothing about the SMOB election, which again had a bunch of potential, and it just seems like there's kind of a lack of real. It seems like they're not really focused on churning out more like content. It seems like they're content to basically have, like, because honestly, like, their average weekly or monthly issue is pretty unentertaining, and their version of the year is the only thing that's arguably worth reading. And if that's the situation, I think they just need to put more effort into trying to think about more things to discuss.
Yeah, that's fair criticism.
Particularly, like, even in 2016, there was a general Board of Ed election, right? So for not just the SMOB election, but the Board of Ed had its members elected. So I don't understand why that wouldn't be discussed. I think that's something that certainly is relevant. And even if you're just reporting on who got reelected, even if you're not giving any kind of insight, that's still something.
Let's see. Time limit on that.
That was kind of a strict time limit that you were given.
Yeah, it's like you have to slow, but if you do it, you get 3-in-1 up mushrooms. So I was like, that could be good. Yeah, Nintendo knows how to make games. I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah.
If there are any haters on this podcast about Nintendo, they can actually.
Okay, I guarantee you, like, if you've made it this far in the podcast, I'll gift you Garfield card or something on Steam, depending on what the prices are like.
Yeah, we should like give them a free $1 game if they go this far.
Yeah, if you get this far and you can comment, if just type in the comments below. There's a code word, okay, that you have to type in the comments. So you have to mention this time in the video, and type in the comments GEG, GEG. If you type that in, then and link to the time that we said that, you will be provided with like a $1 game on Steam of your choice.
Yeah, $1 game on Steam. Probably Garfield card.
I mean, it's $5 normally. It's only $1 for the sale.
Yeah. How long does the sale last?
Till July 5th.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we should have the video.
I'm really scared to get my AP exam scores back.
Oh yeah, I had a dream about it actually the other day. I had a dream that I got some pretty bad scores on the AP exams. I thought I was gonna like fail and stuff on it. I got a 4, and then I saw I got a 4, and then I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I got a 5, and I was like, huh. And then I realized it was a dream, because then I got on the calc exam a 6, and I was like, wait a minute, something's not right here.
Was it vivid? Was it did it, like, in your dream, did it look like it did when you checked your scores from last year?
Yes, it looked exactly the same. So that's why I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, the calc exam. Here's my situation though. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I failed the physics exam, or shocked for that matter. I'd be upset, but there's a difference between being upset and being surprised.
I agree. I fundamentally agree.
Like, because there's a fine line between what you want to happen and what you think is going to happen. And chemistry, if I got a 2, it would surprise me. If I didn't get a 4, it wouldn't surprise me. I think I probably got a 3 on that. And then the others, like, if I came up short on WAP, Calc, or English, and coming up short in either of those cases, I think would be less than a 3, except English, I think I need a 4. But if I came up short in either of those, I would be pretty upset and somewhat surprised, because in Calc, I'm almost positive I got, because now a 3 is kind of a low aim, but at the same time, the 3 is all I need for credit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to get the star.
Oh, baby.
Yes! Holy shit, how long has this been running for?
Not even an hour.
Wow, damn.
Luigi's just, the best. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, the AP exams, man.
The
Ghost.
physics exam was ridiculous. I honestly think it's like the idea is that you take physics, C, mechanics, and E&M at the same time, so they're basically like one big course. But the problem is, most people don't do that, and also you should still make the exam a little bit longer and more fair. I just think that the exam is too short, and not sure that they don't give you enough time for the amount of questions they give you, although I think that's a little bit unreasonable, but that's not my biggest issue. My biggest issue is that in general it's an hour and a half, and I think for an entire course only giving an hour and a half exam is a little bit unfair. Because there's not enough content there to really accurately reflect everything you learned at the course.
Yeah. That is understandable.
The fact I got a 1 on AP on like it's the more confident I am in my AP exam score, that seems to be like the less good I do. So maybe it's possible that I absolutely fucked up Calc, WAP, and English, but did well on physics and chem.
No, that would be shocking. Honestly.
That would be shocking, but at the same time, because last year I was pretty sure I failed the physics 1 exam, but I got a 3 on that, which was a pleasant surprise. And I was almost certain I got a 5 on the Gov, but I got a 3 on that, and I honestly don't know how.
Yeah, I was also surprised.
It really doesn't matter, though. I'm not going to try to defend it. It's like, yeah, a lot of people got 5s. How did you get a 3, lol? I mean, I didn't really study
three's
at all.
credit. Three's credit.
I have the credit, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just irritating. These Ho-Ko kids, they be talking about their AP exam scores in their junior year of college.
Yeah, basically.
Like, it's irritating, and I want to learn how to stop thinking about it, but I live in an area where no one ever shuts the hell up about it.
Yeah, people are actually they're arrogant here. Arrogancy. I should probably. Yeah, I'm gonna make this up. Oh crap! I got 60 seconds.
Gotta go fast. He has 60 seconds apparently.
I don't know what to do. Kill these guys? This should be like. Oh, I screwed up. Get more invincibility. I killed them all? What is this? No, I can probably kill them.
Wait, do you have to kill them all, or do you just have to make it to the end?
I have to kill them all.
Kill them all.
Mario's a mass murderer. Jesus, these spinies aren't even doing anything.
Keek.
We should probably tell people to type in the comments something. If they want something.
Yeah, but if what do you mean if they want something? Yeah, to what game you want?
Discussions.
Yeah, no.
If we should get a capture card.
If we should get a capture card or add gameplay footage to the podcast, that's an option. What other things you'd like to see talked about? Because honestly, the idea behind this episode is that it just flows organically, and I do like that. But in my opinion, the best way to go about doing a general show is you set a couple of target topics that you want to hit, and then you start talking, and then you just kind of let it flow and keep those topics there in case you dry up.
Yeah.
Which I did that with Elijah once, but we ended up losing all the footage.
Damn.
It was interesting. We had some really lengthy and decent conversations. We did a video where we reviewed the movie The Red Pill.
Yeah.
So we got some Spurg commenting on it, and I responded in kind, and I have yet to see a response from the aforementioned Spurg.
Was it a bad movie?
It wasn't that bad of a movie. I just had a few criticisms. I thought sometimes the editing was a little bit disingenuous, and I thought that I was critical of a couple of ideas that I actually did admit fault on points where I was wrong. But this guy seemed to be really upsetty about the fact that I made a couple of criticisms about that documentary.
It's like the creator of the documentary.
Yeah, hi Casey. It's pretty obvious that's you. So anyway, while we're on you know the CEO of Paradox, his name is Frederick Wester.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He talked to you, didn't he?
He talked to me on Twitter once, actually. It was like, if I get less than a 4 on my chem exam, I'm suing Paradox Interactive, and he responded with, sounds reasonable. So this guy, like, I didn't at him or hashtag or anything. He just searches through Twitter for mentions of his company. And that's how he found me. Anyway, so there's this thread where we're talking about the DLC practices, right? And this guy comments, you guys realize that, it's pretty honorable what they did. They lowered the prices and apologized. Most companies wouldn't do that. Someone responded with, hello, Frederick.
Oh my god.
Aw. We didn't get any response from that guy. It might have been Frederick, given his track record for, like, communicating with strangers.
So wait, so Casey the guy who did the thing?
No, the Red Pill? No, Casey J. This ex-feminist. And honestly, the documentary wasn't that bad. I just had a couple of criticisms of it.
Yeah.
And that's what our friend decided to become a literal salt mine over it.
Oh,
Damn.
Damn.
This turtle thing, I don't see how you're supposed to get it done. This is ridiculously challenging.
I got 27.
How many do you need?
30.
Oh, so do you have to get all of them?
I guess they have 30. And I was like stuck in the middle of a thing for a second, so I think I can do it.
Yeah, oh, yep, you jumped over that. 1, 2, 3. The idea is it seems like, okay, if you're doing 30, you basically have to kill about 1 every 2 seconds.
Alright, here we go. And the invincibility power-up runs out every few seconds, so...
It runs out, how often do you know that do you know for certain how often it runs out?
I'm just guesstimating.
Yeah, I think that might be part of the problem, because if you run back, because it seems like you have to time, like, everything really precisely.
Yeah, this is a hard challenge, too.
Okay, jump this. Wow, this is the sidetrack issue, but I think partially it's that I'm coming up a little blank and things to say because of my sheer exhaustion. All right, yes, come on, you can do this. 25, come on, you have 5 more in 15 seconds.
Where are they? Oh, I think I screwed up. No, I didn't.
There was one over there.
Yeah, I know where the... Fuck.
28 out of 30, though. You're close.
29's right here. Oh, no, and I ran out of... Oh, fuck.
You know what you should do? You should actually just,
There goes Mario.
Oh, it's game over. Wow, this was your last life.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
I would consider using one of the lives just to time exactly how long the invincibility is there for.
Maybe you should just take a break for a little while. Fuck you, big fat Luma.
I think it's amazing that it says principal.
Yeah, Mr. He's actually a decent...
Also, apparently found at the high school.
Makes sense. That's probably why we have theater. Our arts department is pretty good in wildlife.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I think the problem is when you try to compare schools usually, right?
Yeah.
Many of the metrics they use just aren't good. Like, things like the AP scores and the SAT scores are usually more reflections of the people who go there than they are the staff. It's very difficult to get good reflection of the staff.
Yeah. I'd like to argue that our band director is one of the best band directors in the county.
Is it? No, that's the just chorus, right?
Yeah, it's cool also.
Is pretty amazing, though. You know, once the students graduates, he plays Overwatch with them.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he plays Overwatch with his students, but he waits till they graduate too. He says, Liam says that once he graduates, Mr. will be willing to join our Discord server.
What?
Lem's Bar and Grill.
That's just awesome.
That's quite respectable. Anyway, so what we decided to do is that in a couple of days we're gonna have a debate for the moderator candidates.
Mr. wins. Next year, he becomes the moderator.
I think. Well, I mean, honestly, if he ran, he'd probably be able to. He'd probably win. My goal right now is here's the situation. Right, me, Donovan, and Jake are all moderators, and there are a couple of other individuals who are really serious and who are very serious contenders. Okay, there's I think it's me, Donovan, Jake, Elijah, Ben, Clumsy, and Sam, and my goal, I think the ideal moderation team, in all honesty, would be me, Elijah, and Ben.
Yeah.
But I think what's gonna end up happening is, there's my friend Donovan asked a good question. He's like, "Who is actually voting for Elijah?" I'm like, "That's honestly a reasonable question. It's hard to say other than Liam and I." But another good question is who's voting for Jake, and who's voting for you, to be honest.
That's true.
Because
it's been.
I think, yeah. He wants to be a moderator, and his whole thing was that he would resign if he actually won, but he's decided that no, if he actually does win, he's probably not going to resign.
Oh, dang.
And if he comes outward with that and he actually says that, then I feel like he actually does have a good chance, because his whole thing is that he's fairly qualified to run the server, and that's kind of what Jake is also trying to appeal to. So it's like potential Ben voters have a lot of overlap with potential Jake voters, and at this point it seems Jake is the most likely to lose a seat. Jake is also he chose not to participate in the debate, saying that he didn't think it really mattered and it wasn't serious, and that probably nobody else was. Well, here's the thing. He was the only one who chose not to participate.
Oh, dang.
He said this. He was like, even if you give me the time he has no interest in it whatsoever, even if you give me the time I want.
Dang.
Whereas people like Ben and Clumsy, who are actually busy people, decided to take up on this. So this really just makes Jake look even worse.
So who's Clumsy exactly?
Clumsy is an internet friend of Donovan's who's in Tennessee, and he hates Elijah, and that's his main thing. Like, his entire campaign is basically fuck Elijah. So
How many people are on this Discord thing?
There's actually a total of, let me check on my phone, my handy dandy phone. Cold. Wake me up inside. Our server, the Lem's Bar and Grill server, has. Let me open it on my mobile device.
Oh, I missed one.
I took blueberries into urinals. Dumpster out back chat. Hang on, I need to read through the chat. Okay, it's like spam. Wow, like actual really pretty bad spam. The screenshots in the corner arcade. There's 3 in the bar. All right, here we go. 1 + 3 + 4 + 18. I'm doing some math. That's 8. That's 9. 9 + 18 that's a total of 27 people.
That's pretty good.
In a good chunk of them aren't super active.
Yeah.
But they're there nonetheless. Like, they've been on the server at one point, even if they don't regularly use it. We do sometimes have strangers come on just to try to meet new people and expand our circles a bit, and it's worked pretty well so far.
This is the one. No, it's not. 5.
What? No. Okay, I'm sorry. I know the audio for the past like 30 seconds is probably cut out because I was silent. But he hits the turtle as the clock hits 0, and that doesn't count for him.
Well, that's some BS. Oh my gosh, why is this so difficult? Like,
This is for children too. Like, how do children do this?
you gotta. Nintendo doesn't make games for children. They target it towards children, but they know who actually ends up buying it.
They do. It's like 30-year-olds who end up buying this shit.
Because like.
I think you probably should have. I think your issue is you probably should have hit those. Wait till the end to hit those people by the waterfall, right?
Yeah,
Either wait till the end to hit them, or hit them while you hit the other people in that vicinity. Because otherwise, you're moving around a lot more than you need to, and you're not kicking turtles. Okay, now you have to get an average of 1 turtle a second for.
26. It's last 2, isn't it?
Oh, looks like you're gonna get it. Yes, he got all 30 turtles. So this is a mission where there are a bunch of invincibility stars, and he has a minute to run around and kill 30 turtles with those stars.
This is like literally.
Yeah, no, I've been watching this for like the past God knows how long.
Yeah, Nintendo. I'm gonna talk about games really quickly. Cause I can just like see certain I'm not gonna name him by name, but big tall blonde guy.
Yeah.
I know he's a Call of Duty player and FIFA player.
Okay, so he's a douchebag, dude. That's how we refer to those people in the normal world.
Oh, and there's another prankster star.
Yeah,
no, but I remember so I remember in middle school even, like when I was trying to, like people still played what's it called? Call of Duty and stuff.
Yeah. Well, people do still play Call of Duty.
It's a sad life we live in.
I mean, it is kind of sad.
But so this so I remember like I was telling people in middle school about this game called BioShock, which if you haven't played it,
I've heard about it. I actually haven't, but I have yet to play it.
great game. Like which one do you have?
I think I have all of them.
They're great. Play it. What system do you have it on?
PC.
Oh, you got the sale?
I got it on sale. I don't. It wasn't this sale, but it was a while ago when I got it on sale.
Yeah, the first and the third one are the best ones. Second, you can skip over. It's got a great story, and it's about like a dystopia kind of situation.
Yeah, if I watched the zero punctuation review on it, but that's like the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Anyway, so well, for those who don't know, which is essentially everybody, because nobody on here has the faintest clue what's going on in my personal life. We have some associates and I, by which I mean Donovan and Liam, are working on this collaborative literature project, and the idea is like it tells a story as a series of documents rather than as a singular narrative to incorporate more perspectives and to generally be interesting and less stagnant than a typical narrative would. However, some members of this project seem to refrain from performing their responsibilities. My friend Liam, he mostly just edits it, and he's kind of said, he's like, oh, I haven't done anything because there's nothing to edit. It's like, not necessarily, because we've made progress on it. It's just you haven't been really keeping up to date with it. You have access to the document, so please read it and try to keep up with it. So but I think Donovan's lack of progress is more to the fact that I'm not really pushing him to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's something that's kind of frustrating that he does, and I know that this is probably something I should just take up with me. He tries to frame it as if he's like, oh, we're working on this together because Gavin has no idea. I just help him write dialogue because like he's really bad at that. It's like not at all actually. Firstly, there's been barely any dialogue because this is mostly just documents. Secondly, almost all the dialogue that has been done has been the parts that I have personally written. Can you just like state the fact, like, and the fact isn't even worse for you. It's not that like here's the reality of the situation. Donovan and I are stylistically different. Because of that, it's good to have a diverse array of styles in doing something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, certain things. Oh yeah, so music, anything musical that you've been listening to lately? Even though I know you're not a.
I know. Well, the Piano Man became the anthem of our Discord server, so I've listened to that on a loop a lot.
Yeah, I've listened to I've been working on a lot of music lately. It's painful. It's fun, but it's painful.
Well, Audacity can speak to that.
Yeah, and I also so I recently took. I'm now taking composition lessons, so I can write actual like instead of writing like like little poppy tunes that everyone is like, oh, this is catchy. I'm trying to like write stuff.
Trying to actually make things that are larger scale and more coordinated.
Yeah. All right. Okay, this is a daredevil run, which means I get one life. Well, one heart. So let's see how this works.
Okay, I've been summoned to the outside chat. Can you give me a moment?
Yeah. We'll edit this out.
You summoned me? Yeah? Alright, I'll probably be on in a bit. See ya.
Little did Liam know.
Little did Liam know that it's probably, when I say a bit, that's so vague. Like, I'll say I'll be gone just a bit, and then I'll leave for like 3 hours.
Or little did Liam know. You're just talking shit about.
Oh, yeah.
Literally just shit talking to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. He's like the figurehead of the server.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of kids in high school are arrogant.
Wow. That's such a new observation. Holy shit! This
Hold up, my phone's vibrating. Hey, boy.
When are you gonna be done?
Does that concern you?
Do you want to be on the show?
Sure. Do you want me and Zach to come be on the show?
If he wants to come over and take the seat that you're currently filling by doing nothing.
You can take this. You can like come over and like join the podcast if you want.
Yeah, we're trying to get as.
Would you be able to drive us though? 'Cause I have my amp.
Oh, yeah, because you have your amp shit.
Oh. Well, honestly, we could just pause the recording, and then we could do that
We could
if
check
you
the
were available.
sound quality. Make sure.
Yeah, we should have checked the sound quality like an hour ago.
Yeah, we should have. I was like thinking about that.
I hope to Christ the sound quality is okay. If not, well,
Rip.
I'm like a vault of stories.
Here we go. Oh yeah.
Once,
Sorry.
anyway,
got
yeah. Right now he's got to finish the Super Mario Galaxy thing, and then we could pause the recording.
If you think Super Mario. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'll pick you up soon, John. Okay.
Okay. I sent you the thing, so just let me know when you're coming, okay?
Oh fucking shit!
All right, you died. Okay, let's pause this and then check the quality.